be able to bring Molly and Lily with me, unfortunately, so they will no longer be a part of our practice. No, you'll miss them. There's lots of videos, though. If you need your fix, you can always go onto the YouTube videos and you need your fix of Molly and Lily. Okay, let's get started. So we're all in our comfortable seated position. Just settle in. Start to witness your breath. Slow everything down. Relax your jaw, soften your temples. Take your shoulders up to your ears. And then take the heads and the shoulders back and float them down. And then if your hands are on your knees, if they're not there, put them there. And then we're going to just kind of gently pull on our knees and feel the chest lift. So you kind of feel the shoulder blades drawing in toward each other, opening up the chest. Feel the crown of the head rise to the sky. And your sit bones root down into your mat or your blanket or your support. Here's Lily. All right, let's continue with our breath. Inhale. And exhale. Just watch the breath as it comes in and out. All right, then take your hands behind your ears, outside of your ears. Keep the fingers together. We're going to take a breath in through the nose. And then exhale and bring your palms together. So your thumbs come between your eyebrows. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to take our thumbs to our heart center. Let's do that again. Hands behind your ears, breath in. Exhale, collect your thoughts, quiet your mind. Inhale. Exhale, offer your thoughts to your heart. And let's do that one more time. Inhale here. And gather all your worries, your concerns, expectations. Breathe in here. And then just take them and offer them to your heart. And you can bring your hands back down onto your lap. Let's sit up tall, take your shoulders back and away again, but we're going to take our chin into our chest. So we want to keep the chest open, but the chin draws in towards your chest. You can place your fingers on the back of your head if you'd like to deepen your stretch. Start to feel that nice stretch in the back of the neck. And then release that. We're going to start to take our chin up toward the sky. Take your collarbones toward the floor. Feel the neck opening. If you'd like, you can even just place your hands on your collarbones and gently draw the skin of your neck down a little bit just to deepen that stretch. Just be gentle. Nothing crazy, just trying to open the neck. It should feel good. Gently bring your chin parallel to the floor. Now look over your right shoulder, keeping the shoulders back and down. Just go where you can, don't force it. Just go where you can, especially it's so early, we don't want to force it and already tweak our neck. Just kind of just take your neck as far as it will go without straining. And then maybe as you breathe into it, you might be able to go a little deeper, but we're not worried about that right now. Right now, we're just opening the neck. Bring your chin back to center, and then look over your left shoulder. And then bring your chin back to center. Take your right ear to your right shoulder, and let's walk our right hand over to the right. Keep this left sit bone rooting down into your mat. And then you're going to take your left arm out, back, down, move it around till you find that stretch right up here, up in your upper trapezius muscle. That's what we're looking for. So you move it around till you kind of find that sweet spot. Just hold it here. Try to keep that left sit bone rooting down, feeling this nice big stretch. And again, don't go too deep. Just breathe into it. Now we'll take our right hand onto our right ear. Carefully, slowly bring your head up. Sit here. Notice the right from the left. Just notice the space that we're creating. All right, let's do that on the other side. So carefully take your left ear to your left shoulder. Walk your left hand out. And we'll take the right arm over to the right. Back toward the back of your mat, maybe down toward the floor. Find that sweet spot in your upper trapezius muscle. Deep breaths here. Just keep the chest lifted. Keep that right sit bone down. And feel this big stretch. And we'll take our left hand onto our left ear and slowly, carefully, again, bring your head up. And once again, notice all that space. Now look over your right shoulder again, just carefully. Keep the shoulders back and down. Bring your chin back to center and look over the left shoulder. And then come on back to center. Now let's switch our legs around. Bring the other foot in front. And if at any time this becomes too much, we're not going to be seated too much longer, but you can put some blocks underneath your legs too. Sometimes sitting and cross-legged can be a little hard on our hips if we're here too long. So we're going to twist over to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. So your left hand can be on your right knee. Your right hand's right behind you, kind of close to your tailbone. Inhale, lengthen. So draw the crown of your head up toward the sky, and then exhale, twist. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Now maybe you can look towards your right shoulder. And then come back to center. And we'll twist over to the left. So the right hand on your left knee, left hand behind you. Inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, feel your spine grow long. Exhale, twist. We initiate the twist through the pit of the belly right here. And then one more time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Maybe you can turn your head toward the back shoulder. And then carefully come on back to center. Take your legs out in front. Extend through your heels. So you're feeling the heels push forward. You're drawing your toes towards your shins. And then we want this internal rotation of the legs. So you can even help it along. We're trying to get the left knee to draw down towards your mat and the right knee to draw down towards your mat. So with the internal rotation, we're pressing through our heels. Then our hands will come by our sides on our fingertips. Tense your fingers. Press into the mat, lift your chest. Draw your quads into your thighs. Lift the chest. Press through your heels. The gaze is just down your nose, so you're just kind of looking forward. Chin is parallel to the floor. One more breath. Everything's active. Draw the kneecaps up towards your thighs, the thighs towards your hips. And then release. Take a breath. Let's do that again. Press through your heels. Draw the toes toward your shins. Draw the knees toward the thighs. Press into your fingertips. Lift the chest. Open the chest. Now, if this feels okay, maybe you can reach your arms up. Otherwise, leave them there on the mat. Lift the chest. Press through your heels. One more breath. And legs are super active and engaged. And then let's bring the hands down. And let's make our way onto our backs. So find your strap. Keep it nearby. And then make your way down onto your back. Let's take our legs long. Reach your arms overhead. Hook your thumbs together. Now lift your chest. So you may need to even literally lift your chest to get your shoulders underneath your chest. And then we're going to take our heels to the edge of our mat. Flex your toes, just like in Dandasana. We want our legs just like they were in Dandasana. So we're pressing through the heels, drawing the toes toward our shins, kneecaps toward our thighs. And then we're going to take a breath in. And as we exhale, press through your heels, reach through your fingertips. Full body stretch. Feel the entire length of your body. Stretching through your fingertips, pressing through your heels. Inhale, change the grip of your thumbs. Exhale, press and reach. Inhale, change the grip one more time. Exhale, press and reach. And then release. So let's find our strap. We're going to take the strap, bend the right knee, and place the strap on the right heel. Extend the left leg long. So the left leg is still in Dandasana leg, right? We're still pressing through the heel. We're still getting the internal rotation, so the left knee cap is drawing down toward the mat, and your left pinky toe is pointing up. The right heel is over our hip, or maybe slightly farther out, just depending on what works for you and your hamstring. So we don't want the knee bent because we're working the hamstring. So if your knee's bent, take it where it needs to go to get your legs straight. And then you can loop the strap around your hands or use your loop. I know we do that in here as well. Either one. I like them both. I'm not really partial to either. So you might have a preference. We've been doing both a lot this whole past year. And then we're pulling down on the strap and pressing our heel into the strap. Now lift your chest. Take your right thigh bone, your right hip, away from your chin. And then take your low belly up towards your chin. And breathe. Lift your chest. And just a reminder, I haven't said this lately, but if you deal with sciatica, something you can do while we're in this pose, I may not always say it, but you can always do it. You can point and flex your foot in this pose, and any of these poses really in the hip series. So it's just a way to mobilize the nerve, the sciatic nerve. It's called flossing. And we'll keep taking that right thigh bone away. Low belly up. All right, let's switch sides. Bend the knee. Take that leg straight. We're going to take the strap around the left heel, just at the top of the heel. Kind of where the heel meets the arch. Lock your shoulders down, lift your chest. Flex both feet. Feel free to point and flex while I'm talking through this. All right, so the same thing with the right leg. Right leg is Dandasana leg. leg is straight, toes are flexed, right pinky toe points up, right kneecap rolls down. Left outer thigh, left hip pulls away from our chin, and then the left belly draws in and up with the chest. And feel free to point and flex. Sometimes that just feels good in the ankle. Pull down on your strap and press into your strap. So really want to feel the target area is the hamstring. So I'm going to feel it there. And then remove your strap, take your leg long, switch to the other side. Back to the right. Left leg is long. Left toe pointing, pinky toe pointing up. Now we're going to take both of our straps, both ends of the strap, into the left hand. Take your right thumb into your right hip crease. Lift the chest. Even here, we lift the chest, we want to lock that left shoulder down. And then we're going to take our right heel over in line with our left shoulder. And we're using this right thumb to push that right hip away, creating traction in the hip. Left pinky toes pointing up, that left leg is active. Lift your chest, you can point and flex here if you'd like. Keep the chest lifted. Draw your navel up towards your chin as you press away and take the right thigh away. And then bend your knee, remove your strap, take that leg long, we'll switch sides. Right leg goes long. Both ends of the strap come over to your right hand. Left thumb comes into your left hip crease. Inhale here, and then exhale, take your left heel in line with your right shoulder. Now lock that right shoulder down. Take your left thumb, push that left thigh away, and then take your low belly up towards your chin. Right leg is super active, right? We're taking the toes toward the shin, the knee toward the thigh toward the hip. The right knee rolling down to the mat. Low belly draws up. Left hip presses away. And then carefully bring your leg up. Remove your strap. Take that leg long. Back to the right. So both ends of the strap are going to come onto your right heel, just like we've been doing. If you have a blanket or a block, it's nice to put one on the outside of your right hip. Both ends of the strap are going to come into our right hand. Left leg goes long. Dandasana leg. Take your left hand onto your left hip. You want to pull that hip down, keep that hip down, flex through the right foot, lock your right shoulder down, inhale. And as you exhale, lower your right leg out to the right. And then make sure that left pinky toe is pointing up to the sky. And the outer edge of your right foot is parallel to your floor. Draw your belly button up towards your chin. Lift your chest. You can point and flex here too. Any of these poses. If you are dealing with sciatica, it's something you can always do. You don't need a reminder from me, though I will remind you sometimes. Pull your strap into your foot. Push your foot into your straps. Really feeling that dynamic, right? You're pulling in, you're pushing in, and you're feeling this big stretch in your inner thigh, in your abductors. Inhale. Exhale, bring your leg up. Bend your knee, remove the strap. One more time on the left. If you have a blanket or block that you use, bring it over to the other side. Both ends of your strap come into your left hand. Right leg goes long, Dandasana leg. right? So the right pinky toe up. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's the minute we forget thinking about it, I know it's true for me. My right foot splays right over to the right. So we want to keep that right pinky toe pointing up. All right. Lift your chest. Right hand on your right hip. Inhale. Exhale, lower your left leg out to the left. Pull that right hip down. Keep the chest lifted. What's going on with the right leg? Make sure that the right pinky toe is pointing up, the right inner knee is rolling down, and that your toes are flexing towards your shin, and that leg is completely activated, right? You're drawing your kneecap up to your thigh to your hip. And then you're pulling your strap into your heel, and your heel's pressing into your strap. We do these poses a lot, but there's always something we can learn from them. There's always something we can maybe do a little different each time. So check in and see how you feel. Every week we do these. If you do these during the week, just kind of notice what the difference is. All right, take a breath in. Exhale, bring your leg up. Remove your strap. Put the strap over to the side and your blocks or your blankets. And then bend your knees. You can start with your hands on your belly. We're going to slide the right foot over to the right and let your right knee drop in toward your left foot. So we want this to be at a 45-degree angle. You want your ankle to be in line with your knee. So if this does bother your foot, you could put a blanket or something underneath your right foot. And then if this is easy, take your left foot onto your right thigh. And the right hip will pop up. And then we're going to check our alignment. So make sure that your right knee, hip, and shoulder are in one line. And then the right arm can come overhead. Take a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Now, if this is too much, just keep your hands on your belly. Otherwise, we've got this line now from the knee up to the hip, up to the wrist. Pulling gently on the right wrist as we maybe even drag that left heel down our right thigh. Still taking the low belly up toward the chin. So getting this internal rotation of our right hip. Opening up the chest. And again, notice we do this a lot. How does this feel week to week? Sometimes this is easy. Sometimes if anything's going on in your hips or even your legs, it may not feel as easy. So just kind of check in. If it is not too easy, then take your foot off your thigh. All right, let's switch sides. Come on out of that. Both feet on the floor, knees pointing up, and we'll slide the left foot over. Let that left knee drop in toward the right foot. And then here's where we start checking in. How does this feel? This feels okay, then you can take your right foot onto your left thigh. And then we check our alignment. Make sure the knee, the hip, and the shoulder are in one line. How does this feel? If you feel like you can go a little farther, take your left arm overhead. Now we're adding on. We're adding the upper attachment of the psoas when we reach the arm overhead. And you can take a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the chest. And then kind of notice the right from the left. You probably can see there's a difference on each side. I definitely do. Definitely have a difference on this side. This hip does not like internal rotation. One more breath. Maybe you can drag your right heel down. Maybe pull gently on your left wrist. Really get that length. And then release. Bring both feet back onto your mat. Take a breath here. And we'll go into external rotation. So now the right knee will drop over to the right, and we'll just tuck that right foot behind our left heel. And then this is where we start adding on. So you can stay here. This is perfectly okay. You can even take your left leg straight if you want. Or you can take your left heel in front of your right shin. And check in here. So now your left hip is externally rotating as well. If this is easy, you can take your left foot onto your right thigh and let that left knee drop out. And if your left foot's on your thigh, you want to keep your feet parallel with each other. So you're flexing your feet for double pigeon. It's double pigeon if you have other practices. And then adding on, you can reach your arms overhead. So once again, adding the upper attachment of your psoas. Arms can stay straight, maybe take them wide depending on your shoulders, or even hold on to your opposite elbows, and then lift your chest. And stay here for a few breaths. Just notice how all this feels. It's all part of the hip series, opening up our hips in every way. 6 different ways of opening up the hips. And let's uncross, come on out. And we'll switch sides. So let the left knee drop over to the left, tuck your left foot behind your right heel. And again, starting point. How does this feel? You can stay right here and work on this left hip. Or you can take your right heel in front of your left shin. Let that right knee drop over, lift your chest. Hands can stay on your belly. Or maybe if that feels easy, you can take your right foot onto your left thigh and let your feet flex so your feet are parallel with each other. Take your arms overhead as an option. Breathe in. Keep the chest lifted. Take the low belly up towards your chin. And again, notice how this feels. Just checking into your body this week, today, just today. Our bodies change all the time. Depending on what you did maybe the day before, earlier this week. And then let's uncross. Hug your knees into your chest. Do whatever feels good right here. You just rock from side to side. You move your legs around in circles. You can even maybe take a happy baby. Just whatever feels good right now. And then we're going to make our way over to the right or one side. And then make your way onto your hands and knees. All right. So from here, let's step the right foot forward. And we'll take our hands up onto our right thigh. So just start here. We want the knee over the ankle. And we want the foot far enough forward that when we lean into it, that we take our tailbone toward the front heel, that you're going to feel your stretch right here in your left hip flexor, in your left psoas. And then we want to take the low belly up toward our chin. And then you can take your left arm up, Reach up through your fingertips. Take your low belly towards your chin. Really feeling this. Again, once again, we're going right up here, right from the quad, up through the psoas, into the upper attachment. And you can take your arms slightly over to the right. Low belly's drawing up towards your chin. Taking your tailbone towards your front heel. And then carefully come up. Bring your hands down. We'll set up for the other side. So come back onto your hands and knees and take your left foot forward. We'll bring our hands up onto our left leg. So we're setting up here. We want the right knee over the ankle and the foot far enough that we're taking the tailbone forward and feeling this stretch here in the hip flexor. All right. You can stay here or maybe take your right arm up. Take your low belly up towards your chin. Inhale. Exhale. And then take your arms slightly over to the left. Breathing. Lifting the chest. And then come on back down onto your hands and knees. Now let's take child pose, a wide-legged child pose. So take your knees out to your edges of your mat. Sit your hips back onto your heels. And then extend your arms out. Let your forehead rest on a support. So if it doesn't touch the mat, put a block or a blanket there. Inhale, and then exhale. Crawl your fingertips out as you press your tailbone towards your heels. Now walk your hands over to the left. And you can take your right hand onto your left hand. Feel that nice stretch through the side. And then walk your hands back to center and over to the right. You can take your left onto your right. And then bring your hands back to center. Come back onto your hands and knees. And let's come into down dog. So taking your shoulders over your wrist, turn your toes under and lift into downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Now wiggle your chest to your thighs. Look at your knees so your neck stays long. Take your hips a little higher and then you can straighten your legs. Now take your armpits in towards your ears. So you're gonna feel that broadening across the shoulders. Press your heels towards your mat. They may not reach, they probably won't, but that's okay. And then you can bend one knee and press the opposite heel, so you're probably gonna get a little closer, and then switch. Just pedal your feet a few times. Okay, now look towards your hands and step your right foot up to your right hand. So we're going to go back into a lunge. So you have the option of placing your left knee down or keeping it off the mat. So right now our hands are on the mat. Left knee is going to stay up or down, and then we're going to come into crescent lunge. So you can come all the way up. You can keep your hands onto your right thigh. Lift your chest. Take that left shoulder forward. You're on the ball of your left foot or you're on your knee. And then maybe reach the arms overhead. Lift the chest. Draw your navel in and up toward your chin. Float the shoulders down and away. At any time, if you need to, place that left knee down. Shoulders drop away from your ears. And then come forward and step back to down dog. Pedal your feet. Kind of stretch that out. All right, come up onto your tippy toes. Step your left foot up to your left hand. And again, place your right knee down. Even if you just want to start here and maybe go from there. I'll do it that way this time. So either your knees on or off the mat. Take your hands onto your left thigh. Establish your foundation. If you feel like this is comfortable and easy, you can reach your arms up. So my knee's on the mat. For now, I'm going to take it off so you have that option. Maybe play around with it, see where you can go in your lunge. Float the shoulders back and down. And then come back to down dog. Hands come down, step back to down dog, and then take child's again. All right, come back up on your hands and knees. Let's go back through down dog. So come into down dog. You can keep your knees bent. Get your spine nice and long here. Take your tailbone high. Keep your heels high. And then straighten your legs. And you can press your heels a little closer to the mat for right now. Look towards your hands. Walk your feet and your hands toward each other. Stay here. Keep your knees soft. Stay in this forward bend. You can let your arms dangle, which feels really nice sometimes. And sometimes it feels good to hold on to your opposite elbows. Really, whatever works for you here. Let's take a big breath in through the nose. And a big, loud exhale through the mouth. Do that again. Big breath in. And then let it all go. Feel the weight of the world just draining from you right here in your exhalation. One more time, breath in. And let that go. Take your hands on your hips. Come all the way up. Okay. Find your block or pillow or whatever you use. We're going to take the block and place it between our inner thighs. So feet will naturally be hip distance with the block here. My block is on the thin side, but I think I'll keep it like that. Then we're going to place our feet, really root the feet firmly down into your mat. So just like Dandasana, right? They're Tadasana legs technically. So our feet are rooting down, and then we're drawing the kneecaps up. We're drawing that thighs up to the hips, and we're getting that internal rotation. So every time I say that, you're rotating your kneecaps toward the mat. That's what we're doing here. We're rotating the kneecaps in toward our blocks. Like we're feeling that block, actually trying to shoot it out behind us, like a Pez dispenser, right? We're trying to rotate, really hug that block in and shoot that block out behind us. If anybody can do that, let me know. No, that's the whole idea. It's just feeling that activity in the legs. Now we continue to take the low belly up, right? The low belly draws up toward the chin. So that automatically draws that tailbone down long, shoulders stack down away from our ears, and the crown of the head rises up toward the sky. And hands are at your side. And then close your eyes and kind of notice all this, right? We're standing in this standing dynamic pose with all this energy radiating through our body. Really engaging the navel up to your chin, shoulders back and away. And breathe. All right, so let's release. Now take your block out. And we're going to go into pyramid pose. So we can use, if you have two blocks, you can use two blocks. Or you can use a chair. I'll demonstrate with both. We've done this both ways. So we'll start facing our prop into Tadasana. So our feet are hip distance, hands on your hips. Let's step the right foot forward and the left foot back. And again, let me demonstrate quickly and then we'll go through this together. So you have your hands here. We're going to either hinge forward and you can take your hands on your block or you can have your hands on your chair. So whatever you're going to use, have it in front of you. Hands come back to our hips. And we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift the chest. Take your low belly up towards your chin. Now inhale and exhale. Keep your chest lifted. Keep the chest lifted. We're going to hinge from the hips and come forward. So our torso comes parallel to the floor, and then either take your hands on your blocks or on your chair. And we place down, really plant down through both feet, right? So the feet are engaging right into the mat. And we're going to draw the left hip forward and gently draw the right hip back. Pressing through that left heel. Lift the chest. So wherever you are with your props. I'm going to keep the chest lifted. Keep drawing that right hip back and the left hip forward for pyramid. One more breath. Take your hands onto your hips, come up. Step your feet together. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll step the left leg back, right leg stays forward. Take your right shoulder forward. Hands come onto your low back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So we're adding a little bit of a back bend here. Lift your chest. And then as we inhale, breathe here, and then exhale, keep the chest lifted, hinge from your hip joints. And then bring your hands down onto your prop. So whether it's your block or your chair. And then we're going to draw that right hip forward. And just gently draw that left hip back. Breathe here. Lift the chest. And then hands come onto your hips, come all the way up, and step your feet together. And just come to Tadasana for a breath. All right, now we're going to take down dog at the chair or with blocks. So you can step back into down dog with your chair if you have it. Or you can use blocks, and you can even take the blocks a little lower. But the idea is here to be able to kind of ground the heels down toward the floor. So when you have a little bit more height underneath your hands, you may be able to do that. So whatever you want to use here. So right now I'm using blocks if you want to try this, or you can use your chair. Either way, we're kind of really pressing the heels down, grounding the heels into the earth. Look at your knees. Lengthen, keep the chest open. And then walk your hands towards your feet. Take your hands on your hips and come up. Come back to Tadasana. Just checking in. So we're going to go into some balance poses. We're going to start with tree. So again, standing in your strong Tadasana with everything engaged, just like we did before, rooting our feet down into the earth, drawing your kneecaps up, shoulders back and down. And then let's turn the left knee out to the left. And you can start with your foot at your ankle or bring it into your leg somewhere that is comfortable for you. You can always use your chair here, we've got it here, right underneath our wall, to help get into your balance, right? So maybe start with this. Once you feel like you're balanced, then you can Bring your hands to your heart center. Check in here. So a lot of energy in the standing leg. Once you find your balance, then you can play around with it a little bit. Maybe you can take your arms up. Find a spot to focus on, which will help you stay a little bit more balanced. And trees blow in the wind, right? So if you feel a little wobbly, that's okay. That's what trees do. And just stay here for a couple breaths. If your foot is in your inner thigh, press your inner thigh into your foot as well. Lift the chest, draw your little belly up. Reach your fingertips toward the sky, and then root your foot down into the earth. Carefully bring your hands back to your heart center. Just take your knee forward and place your foot down. Let's just stay here for a breath. Okay, other side. So we're going to turn the right knee out. And you can just stay here with your foot in a kickstand. There's a balance there, right? I feel wobbly even like this. Or take your foot into your leg someplace. You can come into your calf muscle or up on your leg, inner thigh, kind of around your knee. It doesn't need to be on your knee, but we've always said don't put it on your knee. Now they're saying that's okay. So just kind of go where you can go. Once you find your balance, once you find that spot to focus on, maybe you can extend your arms up, lift the chest. If it feels better to stay with your hands at heart center, stay there. Low belly toward your chin. Balances are great because it's really hard to think about anything else. This is a pure moment of being present, right? We're so focused on staying balanced, but that's all we're thinking about. So let's take a few more breaths in this pure present moment. Shoulders float down. The tree grows, right? The branches grow up to the sky. So from the hips up, we reach up, and from the hips down, we root into the earth. And let's carefully come on up. Hands to your heart. Bring your knee forward. Take a breath here. Okay. So let's, from Tadasana, I'm just going to move because my blocks are here. I'm going to keep a block. I'm just going to keep one on each side. You can do that too if you have to, or otherwise you just move one from side to side. So coming back to Tadasana, take your legs wide, and we'll turn the left foot up toward the top of our mat. And the right foot's going to turn in. We want the left heel to intersect the right arch. Extend your arms out long. Inhale. We're going to reach out. Take your time. Reach out. Find your block. Take your right hand on your hip. Left hand on your block. We're pressing into our block. You can even come out to your fingertips here. Take your right shoulder over your left. So we're taking the back ribs toward the front ribs to get the twist through the low back. And right now, our right hand's just on our hip. And if that feels easy, you can extend your right arm up. So we're pressing into our block with our left hand and reaching to the sky with our right hand. Lift the chest. Low belly draws up. And if it feels okay, you can look up towards your hand or just look straight ahead. Take the left butt cheek back towards your back heel. Inhale. Exhale with control. Come all the way up. Bring your feet in alignment with each other. And then we'll turn the right toes out, left toes in and up. So hopefully your feet didn't move. They're still in the same plane. Arms extend out. Inhale. Exhale, reach out. Left hand comes on your hip. Find your block. Place it behind your foot. And then take your bottom shoulder under your top shoulder. So we're rotating the back ribs to the front ribs. We take the ribs back, but lift the chest. Chest stays lifted. And then if that feels easy, take your right arm, left arm up. And find your gaze. You can just look straight ahead or up, whatever feels nice in your neck. One more breath. And then with control, come up. Bring your feet in alignment with each other. Step your feet together and stay here for a breath. Okay, so we're going to do a couple variations of half moon. So that's another balancing pose. We're going to start through triangle. And I'm going to use this wall. And that you can also use a block or your chair. But I'm going to demonstrate with the chair first, and then you can we can experiment from there. So if you have a wall, if you don't have a wall, it's okay. Just do it in the middle of the room. So it'll be a triangle. We'll turn the, you want to make sure that before you do it, if you're going to use the wall, you have the, you kind of measure it out. So this is what it's going to look like, right? I'm going to have my left foot at the wall. My right toes are pointing forward, and then my left hand can be on my hip, or I'd come into the full extension of the pose. All right, but we'll do it together. So if you don't have a wall, you can use your chair. Maybe it's better this way, or your block. And you can do it in the middle of the room. Okay, so wherever you want to go with this, let's start in triangle pose. So we'll start this way. I guess I'll mirror you. So our left toes are forward, arms are going to extend out, and then we're going to reach out. We're going to find our block. We're going to take the block and place it about 6 inches in front of our big toe. Then we're going to step into that leg and extend the right leg up. Okay, so I'm going to have to move a little to get my foot back in my wall. If you're at the wall, don't worry about it if you don't have a wall. And then check in. Maybe you can take your right arm up. Lift the chest. Press into the wall. We're all going to do it in the middle of the room eventually. This is just to help support us here. All right, carefully come down. You can bring your hand on your hip, bend your knee. Come into Tadasana, take a breath. Then we'll do the other side. So I'm going to have my back to you. I'm going to come back to triangle. So my right toes are pointing toward the block. Arms extend out. I'm going to reach out. My left hand comes onto my hip. Find my block, step into my front leg, and then step that foot into the wall or into the air. Lift your chest. Keep the chest lifted. Stack the top shoulder over the bottom. And then maybe extend your top hand. So press, if you're at the wall, press your foot into the wall. I'm going to check in. Stay where you are. Nice. Good. Okay, a lot of you are using the wall. That's good. Yeah, whatever part of your wall works, right? We don't really need a whole lot of wall for this. Okay, carefully come on out. All right, so if you have a wall and you really liked it, you can do that again. Otherwise, we're going to try to do it and really create the balance. So let's come to Tadasana. And then step our feet wide. We'll come into triangle, or triangle prep at least. We're going to extend out, bend into your knee, find your block. We're going to step into the front leg, left leg here, if you're on the same one, and then we're going to lift the right leg parallel to the floor. It's a little harder without the wall. So find your balance. You can use a chair too. A little easier with the chair. Maybe that'll work. And then play around with it again. Maybe extend your right arm up. So it's another balance, right? It's a little harder than tree pose. Balances are really great for us, for keeping our minds present. I'm just checking in because I kind of fell out of mine anyway. All right, carefully come on out, back through triangle. And then we're going to switch our feet around. Arms extend out. Start to reach into your triangle, take your hand on your block. Step into your front leg with control. Now take your time, don't rush into this. With control, lift your left leg. And this is a Tadasana leg, this lifted leg, both are, right? We're flexing through both feet, even though one's rooting into the earth. And then we're getting the internal rotation. We're drawing the kneecap into the thigh into the hip. Lift your chest, and then maybe take your left arm up. Gaze can just stay down at your foot. Sometimes it's a little easier until you're really feeling supported. That's what you're going to throw your balance off if you try to look straight ahead, or even more if you look up towards your thumb. So you can play with that if that's in your practice. And then let's carefully come out, again, through triangles. So take your time. Bring your feet in line with each other. Step your feet together. Take a breath here. All right. No more of that. I do like that pose though. Okay, so let's get a blanket, or a pillow will even work. You just take it to the edge of your mat. So we're going to take our left heel up on the blanket and step the right foot forward. So right now both legs are straight. Take your left shoulder forward and then bend your front knee into a square. So you want your knee over your heel, just like before. We're coming into warrior one with heel up the blanket. So the foot's at an angle, left shoulder forward, low belly draws up towards your chin. Lift your chest, and then reach the arms up. Lift the chest. Bend deeply into your front knee. Take that left shoulder forward. Float the shoulders back and down. Draw your kneecap into your thigh. Back leg is super active. Bend into your front knee. Hands on your hips. Step your feet together. Take a breath. And we'll do the other side. So now the right heel is going to come onto your blanket or pillow or whatever you're using. The toes slightly point out. Front leg is straight for right now. Take your right shoulder forward. Lift your chest and then bend into your front knee. So you may need to scoot your foot out a little bit more to get that square. Right? We want the knee over the ankle. We want to feel this big stretch in the back of the leg so that right shoulder comes forward. And then maybe take your arms up and overhead. Good. Couple more breaths. Bend into that front knee. Lift the chest. So we don't want the arch in the back like this. We do want our shoulders over our hips, but we are reaching up and we are opening up through the chest. Take your hands on your hips, step your feet together, come back to Tadasana. All right, so now you can use a chair again, or 2 blocks. We're gonna go into warrior 3. So if you were using the wall for half moon, you can do that again. Again, figure out, let me show you what it's gonna look like. So warrior 3 would look like this. And I need to be, yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm good here. I've got enough length on the leg. And then I have my blocks, or I can use a chair. I'll pull that a little closer. So that's what that would look like. Otherwise, you can just do it again on your mat. We're gonna do that anyway. So if you were using a wall for half moons, so let's start together. From Tadasana, take your hands on your hips. And let's come forward. And then we're gonna carefully lift the left leg up parallel to the floor. And if you're at the wall, place it into the wall. Now we want to drop that left hip, right? We don't want the left hip rolling up. We want the left hip down. So it's nice and flat right here. Like you could place a cup of tea on my back here. Everything's nice and flat. I'm not tipping up here. I'm rotating down. So I've got my chair or my blocks. I kind of like the blocks better for this one. But just do what feels right for you. And then we're rotating that left hip down. And then bring that foot down and just switch sides. So let's take the right leg up the wall or in the air. So you want to drop that right hip. Hips are square to your floor, to your mat. Chest stays lifted. Now just use your chair. And then carefully bring that leg down. Come to Tadasana. All right, so now with your chair, and if you have a chair, you can use your chair or you can use your blocks. We're going to come into, I'm going to use this right here. Actually, no, I'm going to use it this way, right here. So we're going to, hands on our hips, start in Tadasana, and then hands on your hips. And we're going to come forward, lift your chest, and then we're going to lift our left leg parallel to the floor. So warrior 3, and then we're going to carefully lower it down with control. So we're going to alternate that. Then we're going to lift the right leg parallel to the floor. Now again, try not to, we're not opening up this way. We're keeping that right hip pointing down, and then carefully place it down. And if you just have blocks, you can do the same thing. Lift your left leg and lower. Right leg, just go at your own pace. We're gonna do it about 3 more times on each side. So just go at your own pace with control. Okay, keep going. 2 more times. Molly wants to go out, so I'll be right back. Go on, Molly. All right, once you've done your 2 times, just keep both feet down, take your hands on your hips, and come all the way up and back to Tadasana. Take a breath. All right, now we're going to go into the full pose. So there's a couple of things you can do. If you have a chair, you can turn it around and use this to just maybe even get you started. Let me demonstrate first. So from here, you'd come forward, but your wrist would be on your chair, to start. And then we lift the left leg. So that's an option. If your chair is available, you can do that. Otherwise, we're standing in Tadasana. We're going to hands on our hips, hinge forward, lift our left leg. Lift the left leg. So remember, we want to keep that left hip rolling down a little harder when there's no support here, right? You can have your blocks or your chair handy, or maybe extend your arms. So arms can be extended, or you can use your chair. Whatever is going to work for you. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, don't use the chair. All right, wherever you are, I kind of came out of the pose. Yeah, good. Really focus though, the main thing, especially if you have a chair, is really focus on dropping that left hip down. So we're not tipping up here. Just like Tadasana legs, right? Dandasana legs. We get the internal rotation of that lifted leg. We're stamping through both feet, so that left foot is flexed. Carefully, just like when we brought that leg down alternately, we're going to bring that left foot down. And then come on up. Take a breath. Whew, either it got warmer in here, I'm working up a sweat. Okay, so again, we're gonna hinge forward, lift our right leg. Hands can stay at your heart center as well, if that feels a little bit better. Drop your right hip. I can feel my right hip popping up, so I'm gonna drop my right hip. Finding my balance here. Hands at my heart center, or on my hips, or maybe extend your arms out, or you can use your chair. Drop that right hip. That right pinky toe is pointing toward the floor. So your right inner knee is rotating over to your left leg. I'm going to come out of it. I'm going to check in. Good. And then carefully take that right leg down. Come to Tadasana. Take a breath. Hands at your sides. All right, let's make our way down onto our mat. Have a seat. Lower down all the way onto your back. And then get your strap. Hug your knees into your chest. And then take your legs up over your hips. So we're going to take the strap around our feet. You're going to hold on to your strap. It's going to change, the length will change in a sec. So right now our heels are over our hips, chest is lifted, and then take your legs wide on your strap. And then you can just kind of hold on to the edges of your strap. Lift your chest. Flex your feet. Press through your heels, just like we've been doing all morning. Pressing through your heels, drawing the toes toward your shins. Draw your kneecaps to your thighs. Chest stays lifted. And then just gently bend your knees. You can just put the strap over to the side, hug your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. Let's take the right knee over the left knee. Hug the knees in. Flex your feet. And if it feels okay, you can take your hands down to your ankles. Gently pull your ankles apart. Take your knees over to the left. Breathe here. Keep the chest lifted. The more you take your knees over to the left, the more you're going to feel this in that right piriformis. Nice stretch through the glutes. Oh, that's good, huh? I like this one. All right, let's switch sides. Uncross. Left knee over the right. Hug your knees in first. And then if it's okay, take your hands to your ankles. You don't have to. You can just leave them here. You're going to get the benefit of the pose. But if it's available, you can take your hands to your ankles. Lift your chest. And then take your knees slightly over to the right. Lift the chest. Breathe. And then bring the knees up, uncross. Place your feet down. Take your right ankle over your left knee. You can gently press your right leg away or lift your left foot up and slide your right hand through to clasp behind your left thigh. Draw your left knee towards your nose. You can flex both feet here even, and then even take your right elbow into your left thigh. Your right elbow into your right thigh. Then gently press that right thigh away. Take your legs over to the left slightly. So right back into that piriformis muscle. Big contributor to low back pain. Also contributes to sciatica. So those of you who do deal with that, this is a good pose, a good stretch. This muscle will press onto the sciatic nerve, which causes the pain. And then come on up, let's uncross. The right foot can stay down on the floor, and you can push your left leg away. Or you can go into full pose. Lift the right leg up, slide your hand through and clasp behind your right thigh. Draw your knee towards your nose. Left elbow presses into your left leg. Maybe even take your knees over to the right. Lift your chest. And then bring your knees up, uncross. Take your feet down onto the floor. Arms will extend out. Scoot your hips slightly over to the right. Take your knees over to the left for a twist. Pick up the left shoulder to get the right shoulder down so the shoulders stay flat. And you can even take your left hand onto your right knee if you'd like. And gaze up at the ceiling or over to your right hand. Bring your knees up, uncross. If they're crossed, we're going to scoot the hips over to the left and then take the knees over to the right. Lift the chest. So if you need to, you have to pick up the right shoulder to get that left shoulder down. Go ahead and do that so you can keep your chest lifted. Right hand can come onto your left knee. If it's in your practice and you want to cross your legs, you guys know. I usually do that way. Today we're just going into an easy twist. And then bring your knees up. Hug your knees into your chest. Take your forehead to your knees. Give yourself a big hug. Stay there for a breath while I let Molly in. Come on. And then we're going to find Shavasana. So lots of options as always. Traditional Shavasana is legs extended, arms by your sides, palms facing up, chest stays lifted. Or you can roll up a blanket and place it underneath your knees. If you have active back pain, you can take your feet to the outer edges of your mat and bring your knees together. Or we did use chairs today, and this is always a favorite. You can bring your legs up onto your chair. Lift the chest. And just scoot your shoulders, even wherever you are, we want to lift the chest. So the shoulders are just tucked underneath the chest. So the chest stays lifted, palms face up. So wherever you are, once you're settled in, scan your body. Just notice if there's any areas that are still still kind of nagging at you. Just send your breath there. See if you can just let that go for right now. Relax your toes. Relax your fingers. Relax your jaw. Soften your temples. And just feel your entire body letting go of anything it's holding on to. Just melting completely and fully into the earth. Now ring the chimes 3 times when it's time to come out. So just stay here. You have no place else to be, hopefully. We'll be done in a few minutes. Just let your entire body enjoy this final resting pose. You can begin to awaken your body. Start to bring movement into your fingers and your toes. Deepen your breath. Reach your arms overhead. Get a big stretch. And when you're ready, make your way over to your right side. At your own pace, come up to a comfortable seated position. You can stay here with your eyes closed. Notice how you're feeling. Just notice how you're feeling since you got on your mat this morning when we checked in at the beginning of our practice. feeling the difference. All the beautiful changes that come from your yoga practice. Maybe feeling more open, maybe feeling lighter, a little more balanced, a little more grounded. Take your hands to your heart center. Take this time to thank yourself for getting on your mat, for carving out this time for you this morning, for all this great work that you're doing for your body, your mind, and your spirit. And I thank you so much for being here this morning. I'll see you next week. Namaste. You can unmute if you'd like.
Thank you, Karen. Karen, thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Great class.